So you've done the self-help and you've dipped into some personal development, but now you ask the question, now what? What can you do? Well, if you want to escape the apathy, step right this way. So twice a year, I teach a course called Autonomy. It's a 12-week personal development and training course. What people get out of it is multifaceted. There's curriculum, there's exercises, there's camaraderie, you make new friends. There's a whole lot of interesting things. We're going to hear a sample from the course right now, and let's take a look at the value these students are getting. If anyone else has ideas as we go through the course, like different ways that scarcity or learned helplessness, these two common plaguers, like, all of us have these elements because we're in a culture that advertises and reinforces these elements and rewards these elements, right? So the more that we can pick it up internally in our own thinking, great. The more we can do something about it, great. The more we can help other people learn when, because if my wife says something to me and it's scarcity based, I'm going to reset that right there and reframe it in a more objective, let's weigh both sides of it and look at the opportunity cost of not doing this thing at the higher level that we really needed at, right? So the penny pinching mentality, the coupon clipping mentality, I'm not saying be frivolous and throw money away. Certainly not. Certainly not. Even though they print it out of nothing and they're just like, I'm saying still give it some respect because it's a representation of an energy exchange and trust between two human beings, regardless of who prints the currency, right? So the idea in and of itself still needs to be respected. And then you have to, at first, while you're still, especially like in an employee situation, you are dealing with a finite budget and fixed income and these sort of things in some cases. So you need to understand cost over time, cost benefit. How much are you going to use this thing? Like, I know if I pay more for something because I bought like the better version of something, I take care of it better. I use it with more respect, and I probably use it more often. And then if I do want to sell it and get something else, like it still has value on the market. Whereas when you buy the bargain basement or cheaper knockoff or whatever, it's basically disposable, and the only future it has is in the trash can. So scarcity comes into play like when we filmed John Taylor Gatto, for goodness sake. So 10 years ago, I asked Gatto, I said, hey, would you like to? And he said, yes, I would love to. And then, he said, send me a plane ticket and I'll be there. And now my plan was I go to New York City and I interview him in his place. I bring the crew with me. He's saying, I want to come to you. I didn't have a budget for a plane ticket. I didn't have a budget for a hotel. I didn't have budget to get my friends there to be the crew. I had a lot of I can't, I don't haves, all that type of stuff. And then I said, what if I could? How would that look? Right? If I, like, part of my brain is like scarcity, we can't do this. And then another part of my brain is like, you can't afford not to do this. Now with me, that goes on real time. That goes on while John's talking to me, making the pitch. And by the end of the conversation, I said, I'll send you the plane ticket. We'll get your hotel room. We're going to have a great time. See you in a couple weeks. Right. And my wife says, how are we going to do this? And, have you considered having a nearly 80-year-old man sitting in our living room? We don't have air conditioning. It's July. It's like 105 degrees outside. It's humid. It's not going to go well. He's going to be in a suit and it's going to be hot. So, how do we afford and how can we fit an air conditioner in that room? How do we raise money for that sort of stuff? So the gist was, if we played it like everyone's taught to from school, like on paper, you don't have what it takes to make it work. Sorry. You got to give up. You got to quit. And I looked at that equation and said, I don't care. I'm going to say yes to this opportunity. And then I'm going to figure out how afterwards. And the how afterwards was I went to my audience and said, hey, would you like to be an associate producer on a documentary film that I haven't made yet? And I really haven't made any films, but if you're in for 10 or 20 or 100 or $200 or whatever, I'll put your name on it. And I think we had 1,000 different people make donations, and we were able to go into production on the Ultimate History Lesson. And I bought a DVD replicator and printer. I had to overcome lots of scarcity. Do I pay someone else to do it, or do I get the machine and learn how to do it for myself? And we made the first couple thousand copies, which are 5 disc sets, by hand. I mean, so there was a crazy amount of, we don't know how, but we're going to learn along the way. And you can't be doing those forward motion, critical thinking, creative problem solving things if we have that scarcity. I can't, I'm, not meant for this. I'm not qualified for this, imposter syndrome, all the things that people go through, right? So first is recognizing those little voices when you hear them. And then asking the question, like, maybe the bargain thing, maybe that's a good deal. I'll go for that. Like, if it has good quality and it's good price, it's no brainer. But I also know, like, this thing I expect to, like, especially if it's like something that makes me money, right? I don't want to go for the bargain basement anything in the studio, because I want reliability and I need to use it for 6 or 7 hours at a time. So that's an investment. If I had scarcity minded, it's like, you wouldn't get this microphone 12 years ago. You'd get the $60 microphone instead of a $600 microphone. And the quality of sound is nowhere near in comparison, and people can tell the difference. Like, so if I had tried to start my podcasting career with a cringeworthy mic, which I did because I didn't know any better, but I did know enough to improve as I went along, and where, like, scarcity doesn't carry you in audio quality, especially, right? Because even if you're making a motion picture, sound is 65%, 70% of the experience. Sound is important. And once you learn these little things and get away from the scarcity of, now, if you're not using if you're using a microphone for gaming, have at it, get the cheap microphone. If you expect people to listen to your audiobooks, you better not have scarcity in your microphone or anything that's connected to this microphone all the way to your computer, the internet, right? So there's, like, the scarcity has diminishing returns, and what we think it saves us actually costs us an opportunity.
Everyone's doing some kind of self-help these days, and you can find a million self-help courses out there. Most other courses out there are hosting lectures, they're hosting videos, they're maybe even doing Q&As, and these are great starting points to encourage learning. But at AUTONOMY, we believe that hands-on practice is the best way to really lock in what we're learning. There's no better way to gain confidence and mastery than through action. After each lecture, we practice the concepts we've learned with other students, giving and receiving feedback in a non-judgmental environment. The result is mastery of concepts like entrepreneurship, ethical sales, and self-reliance in an environment that directly translates to the real world. Plus, you make connections with other like-minded individuals who are learning right alongside you, and you have a lifetime membership in the community. The AUTONOMY course with Richard Grove equips you with confidence, competence, and courage in a world filled with confusion and noise. You can learn more at getautonomy.info. We'll see you there.